Alrighty, so we have talked about good leads. Remember, we just did that the other day, okay? And you guys did your really fun try-its where you picked one of these, remember, and wrote a story based on one of these famous leads,
Yes.
okay? That's because you weren't here, Chase. Okay, so today we're going to talk about how we end a story. Get the glove off. You are not Michael Jackson. We're going to talk about how you end a story. Okay, so ending a story is as important as starting a story, except that it's really hard. Isn't Chris Grass, please? Okay, it's really hard. I have a terrible time writing good endings. Okay, so we're going to practice that today. All right, so first we're going to look at some great endings that we know. All right, so if you remember, Owl Moon. Okay, this was an example of a great lead too. So the lead in. It was late one winter night, long past my bedtime, when Pa and I went owling. There was no wind. The trees stood still as giant statues. So that kind of interests you and makes you want to read the story, right? Okay. Then the way it finishes. First of all, do you see the words "the end"?
No.
Most writing, except for fairy tales, does not end with the words "the end." I know that's your favorite way of ending a story, but a better way to end it is with a good ending. Okay, Jane Yolen's ending. When you go owling, you don't need words or warm or anything but hope. That's what Pa says, the kind of hope that flies on silent wings under a shining owl moon.
An owl.
Okay, so she's kind of drawing it back to where she started, right? She started with going owling, and then she finished with being under an owl moon. Okay, the moon was so bright the sky seemed to shine. Then her ending is under a shining owl moon. Okay, so she kind of takes it back to where she started, doesn't she? You kind of feel like you know where she's going. And the relatives came. What kind of ending was that? Remember we talked about this some, Joel?
Circular ending.
Why?
Because it's like the beginning is similar to the end.
Very good. The beginning is similar, or the end and the beginning are similar. Remember? Where it says, the relatives drove on all day long and into the night. And while they traveled along, they looked at the strange houses and different mountains, and they thought about their dark purple grapes waiting at home in Virginia. But they thought about us too, missing them, and they missed us. Okay, and that's the ending. And if you remember, at the beginning, they left when their grapes were purple but not quite ripe enough to pick. And they drove and they looked at the mountains, okay, and strange houses, and they thought about their almost purple grapes. Do you remember that? You guys look like you're half asleep this morning. Anybody remember the story?
Yes.
Okay. So,
Early today.
Owl Moon was reflective. It looked back on what the story had been about. Okay, kind of almost summarized it, right? The relatives came as a circular ending. Okay, so we tend to have, those are the two main kinds, reflective and circular. Okay, kind of goes back to how your writing's organized. If it's a first, then, and finally, you're going to wrap it up. Okay. If it's an ending similar to the beginning, a circular ending, your ending's going to be a lot like your beginning. If it's like dinosaur dinners, it's going to be organized by topics. Okay. You guys, today, we are going to read a bunch of famous endings. So just like we had all these famous leads, right? There are also famous endings to stories. And these are famous endings to stories. So today is going to be an even more challenging assignment because you are going to pick one of these endings and you're going to write a story that has to end with these sentences. So remember last time we wrote a story that began with the line. So here's the thing, it can be the same story if you want. If you want to keep going from the story before, okay, like some of you did, I am an invisible man. If you want to keep going with that story and end with one of these endings, you can. Some of you picked, it was a bright cold day in April and the clocks were striking 13. If you want to keep going with that story and end with this ending, you can. If you want to do a whole new try it, you can. But first we need to read the endings, right? Okay, so these are some very famous endings. Some of them I know the books, some of them I don't. Okay? So, are there any questions? That's the last line in a book called The Handmaid's Tale. But I reckon I got to light out for the territory ahead of the rest because Aunt Sally, she's going to adopt me and civilize me and I can't stand it. I've been there before.
Wow.
That is from, I'm pretty sure, Huckleberry Finn.
Oh, my grandma knows that story.
He was soon borne away by the waves and lost in darkness and distance. From a very famous book called Frankenstein.
Oh,
Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Oh, you know what? I put that one twice. Huh, I just noticed that. I liked it so much I put it twice. I didn't mean to, but I did. It is a far, far better thing that I do than I have ever done. It is a far, far better rest that I go to than I have ever known. Very famous book. Can't remember it right now. I should know it, but I don't.
Moby Dick? Is that it?
No, that one's not from Moby Dick. It's a Tale of Two Cities, I think. Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities. P.S. Sorry, I forgot to give you the mayonnaise. How fun is that for an ending?
What?
I have no idea what book that's from.
I'll look this.
And so, as Tiny Tim observed, God bless us, everyone. That is from A Christmas Carol.
Oh.
Okay. It was a fine cry, loud and long, but it had no bottom and had no top, just circles and circles of sorrow.
Moby Dick. What?
No, none of these are from Moby Dick.
Aw.
How beautiful is that? I love that one. I think that one's from one by Maya Angelou. This one of my dad's favorites. Tomorrow, I'll think of some way to get him back. After all, tomorrow is another day. It's from a book called Gone with the Wind. He waited for someone to tell him, this one I love. He waited for someone to tell him who to be next.
Oh. So he's turning into someone else?
Yeah,
like,
that one's fun. You to
born
connect
as a
with.
baby girl and then I was born again
Mhm.
as a
So
teen
maybe
boy.
Lisa could use, it doesn't go with that story, but Lisa could maybe use that one.
think that one, because he turned, with my story, I think that is better.
Okay, whatever works for you. But that one's kind of a fun one. You could do a lot with that one. That's it. The sun in the evening, the moon at dawn, the still voice.
That's what I might do. Good.
And I don't know what story that's from, but we shall never be again as we were.
Good grief. Good
And that
grief.
one's also-
It's Daddy.
I thought you guys would like that. I have no idea what the book that's from, or what, but it was on a list of 100 famous endings. What I will do while you guys are working, I'll find another quote besides this one, so it's not up there twice. Okay? So, I'll get you started, and then I'll fix the quote. Writer's notebook, table of contents. Nehemiah, why are you talking? Table of contents. Great ending. Okay? And then you're going to try. So, Marcellus, you're going to write a story that has to end with one of these phrases. Okay? Does everybody understand that? You're going to write a story, it has to end with one of these phrases. This has to be the last sentence in your story. Amir.
If you do it on the same page that you do your famous beginning, I think it was called, do you put the same page number?
Yes. Yes, so in your table of content, if you're going to continue your story that was the great lead, then yes, you would just put great ending on the same page.
Wait,
Okay.
you forgot to read that one.
Which one?
And so, Tiny Tim, no.
I said that one. As so is
yeah,
Tiny
but
Tin observed. God bless him, everyone. Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Don't ever tell anybody anything. If you do, you start missing everybody.
Wait, you did say that one.
I don't think I did. I told Jim he waited for someone who to tell him who to be next.
Did you say the one?
Yes, the whole class said it, Nehemiah.
It's Daddy.
Again, you weren't paying attention.
Daddy's
Okay.
here.
So, everyone understands the assignment?
Yeah.
Okay, let's head back to our seats.
I might use that.